We're here Wednesday, 9 games on, getting prepared for a one-day Thanksgiving break. We're ready to go. I'm in party mode. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and the best Thanksgiving food is none of them. They're all terrible. I wouldn't know. I just want controversy. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com. Well, I do know. I've had turkey before. It's pretty good. I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We're available on all platforms, and we are part of the #1 sports podcast network, which is, of course, the Locked On Podcast Network, where we cover your team every day. So whatever your team is, we've got it every day. Hence the words. Not just words, they're their meaning, their life force. All right, there are 9 games on. Oh, we're double banging, by the way. Yeah, we're double banging. We're listening to the audio and we're watching the video. 9 games. Should we just, I think we're just going to do it. No mucking around here. Let's go straight in. First game, early one, that I was told was scheduled early because of Europe. Okay. Why randomly on one day? Was there a game for Europe that involves a team, 2 teams with no Europeans? I think. That's not true. Nemesh Keita, but then he didn't play. I don't really get it. Anyway, that was why I was told this game was early. The Detroit Pistons rolled in with the same starting group, and they had not lost a game in November until today, where they lost to the Boston Celtics 117-114. Boston continues to be mid-pack in terms of their record, but better than I thought they would be at this point in the season. On Detroit, Cade continues to be awesome. He played 36 minutes, and that is an important number. He had 42, 8, and 5. He had a steal and a block. He took 25 shots. He took 16 free throw attempts. It's a masterful game. But the reason why 36 minutes is important is because he plays the full load. No one else does. And that's becoming a bit of a problem. The Thig Hogsman, Tobias Harris, played 27 minutes. He had 12, 4, and 3 with a block. It should red flag a little bit here. If you're in a shallow format, a 130 deep league, I think dropping the Thig Hogsman would be okay. And in a 12 team, he's on notice. Duncan Robinson played 30 minutes. He had 11 points with 3 threes. He is not a 12-team league player. He's a stream guy that you can get in to hit threes.
Get that garbage out of here!
We saw Isaiah Stewart get into some foul trouble, but played only 20 minutes. He had 6 and 9. He is not a 12-team league player. But I know what you want to hear about is Jaylen Duren. That's not what you want to hear. Jaylen Duren had another weird game. 12 and 16 is fine, but usage is down, couldn't shoot, and his free throws suck again. I don't really know what happened. Was the beginning of the season anomalous? Is this anomalous? I guess we're going to have to wait to find out. What you want to hear about is Asar Thompson, who played 26 minutes. And like I said, and I've said all the time, he played 30 minutes in the last game. So this is not a minutes restriction. If JB tells which minutes restriction, he is lying yet again. This is a decision. And I was in on Asar Thompson heading into this season. I believed that he would start Asar Thompson, and he did. But I was also cautious because they had success by playing a lot of shooters around Cade. And they didn't have as many shooters. So I did say that I thought there was a chance Duncan Robinson would be a starter. And I put out that caveat of I worry about the way that JB uses Asar because of how we used him last season. And it's happening right now. It is a concern. Now, Asar's numbers, like 8 and 7, 2 steals and a block with 2 assists, like you want better, but it's actually okay. It's not what you want, but it's not a disaster. But if he's staying in 26 minutes and Toby Harris at 27 minutes and Robinson gets 29 and LeVert now gets 24, like, it's almost impossible to feel confident, and this is while Jaden Ivey is playing just 15 minutes. Ivey had 7 and 4 with a steal. Apparently, I said something on a show the day said I doubt that he gets to 20 minutes. If I did say that, that is not the context it was meant to be said in, and not what I believe. I don't think that Jaden Ivey is going to stay under 20 minutes all season. That's not what I believe. But I don't think that he's just waltzing into 30 minutes at any point soon. And at the moment, they are keeping him under 20 minutes. Given his shaky nature in head-to-head category leagues anyway, Ivy, we're going to start to have a discussion in the next week or two about whether he's worth holding and how long it takes him to break through into enough minutes. Because you're 15 minutes away from 30 minutes there. So where do they come from? Well, I guess they could take Dennis Jenkins' 8 minutes out. He's a clear drop. Javonte Green's 8 minutes probably don't need to be there. That's all pretty easy stuff. But the pathway to 30 for Ivy is not it's not incredibly clear. And that's worrying. If you have him, you will hold, I think, just to wait and see where this goes. But it's not a great start. The Celtics, there was no Neemias Queta. And last game when Queta went out, Luka Garza played 0 minutes. So naturally he started. Of course, why wouldn't you? I mean, that makes complete sense. The guys that filled in for him last time were Chris Boucher, who played 0 minutes, and Josh Minot, who played fewer minutes in the game before. Again, totally normal stuff. As for Garza, well, he went scoreless in 11 minutes. So I guess we didn't need to pick him up. Much like with Queta being out, there is no ad. Minot had 9, 5, and 3, which is like okay on the surface, but who cares? We're not adding him. We're not adding Boucher. Out of nowhere, we got Amari Williams. You go, who the hell is that? Second round rookie from Kentucky, two-way contract player. I don't know if he'd even played any meaningful minutes, any non-garbage time minutes this season. He had 15 minutes for 1 point with 2 blocks. Garza wishes he did that. I'm not adding Amari Williams. But this is like, and we saw Baylor Scheiman get 30 minutes. Like, they're just going to rotate all of these guys through. Scheiman had 13 points. He shot 71%, but he's not a center. Well, Jordan Walsh was playing some center. He had 7 and 6 with 4 assists and 2 steals, which again is a little Asar Thompson-ish. I don't think that you add Jordan Walsh outside of like deep leagues that are 200 deep, but he's at least got himself a role. The minutes and the numbers came from the big guys, the main guys. Derek White, 27 and 7, 3 steals, a block and 6 threes, and shot well. Fantastic. Peyton Pritchard, not his best, but 16, 5 and 2 with 4 threes, pretty good. Jaylen Brown, 33 and 10 with 5 assists, 2 steals and 2 blocks. Fantastic outside of the bad field goals, but he's a tough watch at the moment. He's dominating the ball, his usage is through the roof, he's taking a lot of weird contested mid-range shots, and every 5 seconds he looks like he's grabbing at his hamstring. I am very worried if you have Jaylen Brown that hamstring is going to go, and it's going to be a problem. So I'd be very, very cautious of that. Of course, I went on to a bit of a rant this morning on the waiver wire show talking about the guy that said how much of a loser you are if you drop Anthony Simons. Simons had 5 points in 12 minutes in this one and shot 14%. So just for that guy, we're going to give a real hearty jack.
Get that garbage out of here.
Just in case you were doubting that that's what we do. Now we get to talk about a game where there was quite an interesting development. The New York Knickerbockers beat the Charlotte Hornets 129-101. The Knicks rolled out the same starting lineup, and why that is important is that Mitchell Robinson was available here, and he didn't start. It was Josh the Hitman Hart that stayed in the starting lineup along with Juice McBride. We'll start with Hart, who played 34 minutes. He had 22, 8 and 7 with 3 steals. He shot 62%. It's unbelievably encouraging. I don't really know what Mike Brown's going to do here. Of course, the looming return of OG Anunoby will create something. But will they start Anunoby, Bridges and Hart together? Will Robinson come back in? I honestly don't know. But Hart, who was pinned into a bench role of under 30 minutes for the first 15 games or so, the minutes are creeping back up at the moment, and his production looks really good. Again, I don't know how that's going to hold, and I really don't think he's going to play the minutes that he played last season. That's almost impossible. It's not going to happen, but it's on a nice little run here from Josh. So an interesting development just to see that happen, which again, was not something that I thought would happen because everything out of New York suggested that it wouldn't. It didn't, but now it did. So we've got a bit of a change. As for Robinson, you know that I've been saying I don't believe he's a must-roster player, and very clearly I think he's not. He had 5 rebounds with 0 points. Towns had 19 and 10. Well, Juice McBride played a lot, man, 39 minutes. He had a good game, 19 points, but 75% shooting to get there with 5 threes. Not a lot else going on outside of the 2 steals. Stream, sure. Must-roster, absolutely not. No way. Bridges was good. He had 3 steals and 2 blocks, and he's been really impressive this season. I would say that Jalen Brunson has been not impressive, especially for a guy that was being touted in some circles as a top 20 player, largely by people who just would argue with me when I said I don't have him inside the top 30. He's been disappointing, like very much so, even though he had 33 points. The problem is that everything else is very absent, which is the problem with Brunson in fantasy leagues, is that he doesn't do any of these other things. Points leagues, he is better, but he doesn't do those other things. Not much else going on in this one from the Knicks' perspective, I don't think. That will bring us to talk about the Hornets, who got their players back after they were rested in the last game. So, we had the return of LaMelo Ball. We had the return of the big Colk, Ryan Kalkbrenner, and we had the return of Brandon Miller, meaning that Colin Sexton, Sion James, and the cockroach Mason Plumlee went to the bench. Let's start with Kolk, who played 28 minutes. He had 8 and 6. I like that he played 28 minutes. I don't like that he didn't start the second half. And also don't like that he didn't get a block, which those numbers are down for Kalkbrenner at the moment. Do not cut bait on him. In a points league, his value is not close. In a points league, 12-team points league for Kalkbrenner, he's not a must-roster guy. I don't think he's close to a must-roster in a 12-team, 150-deep points league. Category he is. But also, he was getting absolutely fluffed. I've never seen a fluff more than the way the 9-cat rankings treated him. And I hope you didn't buy into that value that's suggested. Let's talk about LaMelo. I think LaMelo might be a pretty sizable buy low at the moment. 27 minutes for him, 11, 6, and 4 on 29%. He's struggling. His minutes are low. The shots aren't falling. I expect that he's better than this, but the risk there in a buy low is how low do you go because of the risk of his ankle. Brandon Miller had 18, 4, and 3 with 2 steals. You'd hope for slightly more, but otherwise it's pretty good. And then with all these guys back, Colin Sexton, one of 3 Collins we're going to talk about today, who for some reason spelled their name incorrectly with 2 L's, played 17 minutes and had 15 points. You do not need to roster Colin Sexton in 12-team leagues.
Get that garbage out of here.
Now, I know that you'll say, but Ball, we can't trust him, so Sexton's good then. But has Sexton even been good in the games that Ball's went out? I'd say he's been fringe at best, which to me is not that exciting. If you're holding someone because they're going to be top 40 or top 50 when someone else is out, and they're giving you top 170 now, okay, fine, whatever. But I don't think Sexton's that guy. We also saw, not necessarily predictable in such a way, but we saw the big areola Kon Knueppel shrank. He inverted, some may say. 6 points, no threes, 4 rebounds, no defensive stats, and shot 17%. We've talked about Knueppel a lot, how good he has been. But we also talked about how it was going to be almost literally impossible that he would continue to shoot those numbers. And all the regression basically just twisted you right in the face right now, right in this game. We also didn't really know what the role would look in terms of usage and priority when Ball and Miller were there. And it didn't look good. It didn't look good. He was awesome when they were out and when he was doing the thing to an extreme level. Minutes up, usage up, efficiency up. In fact, so much so that he needs the stinger for that because he was doing it. And we don't really think of Knueppel as being that guy necessarily. But he was. I'm not saying that you need to drop him, don't do anything like that. But this, again, a bit of a reminder of it might not be as good as I hoped it would be. Diabate had some foul trouble. He had 4 points with 2 blocks in 15 minutes. I do think that you can roster him in 12-team leagues. And one of the big step-up guys here was Trey Mann with 15 and 21 minutes. But overall, not really something that I'm super keen on considering as an ad outside of very deep formats. We've got 7 more games. Today's episode, though, it is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there is no better place to get in on that action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of a game and you want to jump in and ride the hot hand of one of your favorite players, maybe it is Kon Knueppel, you can do that because FanDuel has live bets. Everything from who will score next through to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It puts your knowledge to the test as you sit there and you watch the game and you go, this might happen now. And you can put that bet on and see how it goes. Plus, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So go to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Think of what you're really gambling with and don't forget to gamble responsibly. Now let's go to the next one. And Minnesota getting ready to hang a banner for the entire NBA here. And the banner is going to read, got close to OKC. Because they lost still. 113-105. The Timberwolves go down to the Thunder as this Thunder team just continues to roll. And this was with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being sick. Which is, it's terrifying. It's like they're that good. And of course, no Jaylen Williams. The Wolves rolled in with the same starting lineup. Let's talk about Julius Randle, who was one of the biggest sell highs of the year, had 10 points with 3 steals and a block, which is great, but he shot 15%. He went 57% from the line, and now he is outside the top 150 over his last 5 games. Not suggesting that you need to do anything crazy here. A sell high was something to do. Can't do it now. And now you just look for the equilibrium of his production. Poor start from Ant in this game, but he ended up with a very good game apart from those terrible free throws, and he's had some real shooting issues at times this season. He ended up with 31, 8, and 5 with 5 threes. And I would say if you picked him in the first round, you've been pretty disappointed, but still plenty of time to get that back. McDaniels had 10, 6, and 3, and he was a sell high as well, and that's starting to cool off. while DiVincenzo had 11 and 5. Good numbers there, while Reid was 12. Like, not a lot to talk about there. Gobert was like, whatever, the 3 blocks are nice, the 12 boards are nice, but his percentages sucked. It was just a lot of whateverness. The big game that it will get some of your attention is Terrence Shannon. But again, it's great. I love this, right? Because you can look at it and go, man, Terrence Shannon, I knew it. Big scoring guy. Now, that's me creating a hypothetical character to argue against. Sometimes when I tell you the things that people say, and I will always tell you this, it's someone has said it, and I've gone, are you serious? Like, I've heard that before, right? When I'm creating a hypothetical character, that's what this is. The guys are like, I knew Shannon was going to be great. I knew he was going to do this. You didn't, because he shot 100% from the field. So this is, I guess, that's a pre-argument, in case anyone wants to get excited about adding Shannon. The points are great. 18 points in 17 minutes is ridiculous. He's been terrible all season. He's had a foot injury as well. And he came back and was electric. 18, 2 and 1. Don't buy it at all. Don't even worry about it. Deeper leagues, sure. He can carve out a 20-minute role, maybe. I don't think he's going to be able to carve out the Nickeil Alexander-Walker role from last season. And even if he does, he's not as well-rounded of a player as what Noor is. No. He's not one of those guys that's able to come in and contribute right across the box score. So it's a good game from Shannon. Doesn't really mean much for us. Doesn't move any of our needles, giggity, moving forward. The Thunder team, I don't know. At this point, is there, like, what do we even say about where this team lies from a real-life perspective or a fantasy perspective, honestly? I don't really know what to say with it, because they're just like, they're so good. Again, no Jalen Williams, no Aaron Wiggins. Shea was sick. He played 37 minutes. He had 40 and 6 with 6 assists and 3 steals. He's like ludicrous. Shot 63%. Bro, what is happening? He's so good. I will say this. Chet Holmgren, at the moment, fantasy bust. I don't have Chet on any of my teams because I had him way out of the ADP range. But it was always going to be difficult on this team for him to do the things that would necessitate where he was drafted. 12 and 9 with 2 threes, a steal and a block. And shot poorly. Hartenstein was fine. 15 and 7. That's pretty good. Bad free throws, though. And then the Hong Kong matcher shot well. Casey Wallace, 9 points on 57%. But honestly, look, he steals. That's it. He got 31 minutes. He had 2 steals. That's it. Absolutely not a must. In fact, in a points league, 150 deep, Kaysen is a very easy drop, easy decision. And I think it's pretty easy in a category unless you just absolutely rely upon those steals, which you might. Dort has no business being rostered really outside of anything that's 200 deep. Alex Caruso, just a plus-minus legend, but he doesn't do anything in the box score at this point. And then we've got to start to talk about AJ Mitchell. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, let's talk about Isaiah Joe. Why are you rostering him? Why is anyone rostering him? What are you doing?
Get that garbage out of here.
I like him, but he just doesn't belong on rosters. Let's talk AJ, who has been an absolute darling this season. We know that. He was one of the big surprises. But it is one of those ones where, again, there are reasons why he was successful. I'm not saying he's not going to be successful, but he had 13, 2 and 3, no defensive stats, hit no threes, and played 24 minutes before Williams and Wiggins came back. I like him a lot. There is zero shot that AJ Mitchell maintains 12-10 value. None. It doesn't make any sense unless somebody else goes out. If Shea goes out, absolutely, right? He will be good. But that's not happening. AJ is deprioritized. It's very hard to look at a guy as a bench piece who is also getting a boost because of injuries that's going to maintain those numbers. Now, his numbers for the season are very good, but you're seeing them trickle back now. And there'll be a spike at some point, but role, usage, and like, again, you're playing 24 minutes in games where 2 key guys are out, and Wiggins is a key guy. It's just very hard for Mitchell to be able to keep that up. We can love what he did, and we can love what he is as a player and how he plays, but for a fantasy point of view, I just don't see how it works out for us. Now let's go on to one of the games that was one of the most anticipated games, I'd say, of the day, Milwaukee and Miami. And it was close. The result was really good. 106 Miami, 103 Milwaukee. Glenn Rivers made a change to the starting lineup. Last game it was Jericho Sims starting because, lol. Today it was Gary Trent, meaning Bobby Portis came off the bench again. And let's talk about Portis, who has been bad all season. We got an opportunity to see him do something a little bit more with Giannis out. And Giannis was still out here. Portis played 21 minutes. He had 9 points. He shot 29%. Giannis is likely back in their next game or the one after. You don't need to hold Bob Portis. You don't need to do it at all.
Get that garbage out of here.
In fact, if you wanted to drop Kyle Kuzma's ass along with him, go ahead. 8, 12, and 6. No threes, no steals, no blocks. 36% shooting, no free throws. See you later, Kyle.
Get that garbage out of here.
It was a big game from Big Boom AJ Green. He had 12 points, he had 4 threes, he had 8 assists, and he had 2 steals. And I said, I don't know why AJ is rostered in as many leagues as he is. And I stand by that, even though this is obviously a very good game. If you dropped him, you missed out on this. That's my bad. But again, I stand by it because he has not done this in any game whatsoever. Getting an 8 assist, 2 steal, 5 rebound game from AJ Green, there was more chance in my mind than a butterfly flying out of my ass than that happening. But it happened, so I don't know. Shout out to Caterpillars. We'll see where we go. Ryan Rollins was great. The sell high, like your window is like, it's there, like it's done. Yanni is coming back. Porter's coming back. He had 26, 7, and 5 with 4 threes. And as much as we might think, or you might hope, or you might cope that he's going to start over Porter, it doesn't matter because those guys returning will impact him. The amount of the impact remains to be seen. But there is no chance in the world that Giannis and Porter returning will have zero impact on Rollins. It just won't. He's been dominating. I love what I'm seeing. But it's almost impossible to keep that up. You could almost throw Miles Turner in there as well, 24 and 8, with a block for him on 60% shooting. Really good game. Fantastic performance from Miles Turner. But I know what you wanted to hear about. You wanted to talk about the Miami Heat because they got healthy. Their players were back. And we really needed to see what would happen. And we did, sort of. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Andrew Wiggins and Norman Powell started. Superman, Kel'el came off the bench. Pelle Larsson came off the bench, meaning that Davion Mitchell stayed in the starting group. Let's start with Davion. He played 29 minutes still. He had 2 points. He did have 9 assists, though. He had a steal. Okay. He shot 50%. 1 of 2. It's like Case and Wallace, but for assists. If you want to hold on to him, go for it. I do not believe that Davion Mitchell's a must-roster player. You can very clearly drop Pelle Larsson now.
Get that garbage out of here.
Larsson played 21 minutes. He had 8, 3, and 3. And we are going to have a hard decision and a hard discussion about Triple H Jaime Jaquez Jr., who played 17 minutes for 10 points. And it wasn't because he was shooting poorly, 67% from the field. It's just that when the players return, the 240 game becomes bloody impossible. And there's another reason for pointing out the fact that Jaquez played 17 minutes, Fontecchio played 7, and Nikola Jovic was a DMP CD with 0 minutes. Because all those things you look at and go, well, it won't be like that every game. Okay, maybe. So when we go to talk about what Kel'el did, who had 11 points and 9 rebounds and played 26 minutes, which includes crossing over with Bam Adebayo quite a bit. He shot 67%. He's a really good player who's been very impressive. He was a team best plus 16 wearing this game. Very impressive. But as much as this, you might look at this and go, it's settled. Where will come off the bench, all right? So we got that argument done. Now maybe that changes in other games. I don't know. And you say, well, he crossed over with Bam, so Spo's more open to it. Cool. We're all good with that. That did happen here. But look at the way this box score plays out. Bam played 29 minutes. Powell played 29 minutes. Jaquez, Fontecchio, and Jovic combined for 24 minutes. Combined. And that enabled Ware to push to 26. There are 5 different things there that I think could easily change. Because is Jaquez going to stay at 17? I don't know. Seems unlikely. Is Fontecchio going to be 7? Will Jovic never play? And yeah, there'll be injuries, yeah. And you could easily say, well, Drew Smith won't play 19 minutes. Cool. Larsson won't play 21. I agree. But this is not like everyone played their main role and Ware still played 26. So while it's very encouraging, it's not a settled debate here about what the actual role of Kel'el will be. The role of Tyler Herro is very clear. Best player on the team, going to cook. Before his injury, I had him like as a top 30 guy heading into this season. And I'm pretty happy with how it's looking at the moment. 29, 5, and 7, 32 minutes steal on a block, 60% shooting. It is going to drop. He's not going to be this good. But it's an unbelievably good start. But, again, actually, the other one. We're going to consider dropping Jaquez for sure. We're not. If you wanted to do it, I think you'd be okay, to be honest. And we're going to start discussing dropping Andy Wiggins. 11, 2, and 3 with 2 blocks. The 2 blocks are nice, but bad field goals, bad free throws. Upside is pretty limited at the moment. I don't think we're going to get to the drop Norm Powell stage, who came back from the groin injury probably a little early, but 11 points on 36%. And we talked at length about how good he was, but when Herro returns, it's just no shot of sticking. And it didn't. And if Norman Powell does not get the big usage and does not shoot 40% from three, he's actually useless for fantasy because he doesn't do anything else. We have the blueprint. We saw it last season. Kawhi and Harden were there. He disappeared. So we're not dropping him, but it's not going to be a crazy thing to talk about later in the season if that is something that continues to happen. So some interesting developments. Huck is clearly on the chopping block. Wiggins there too. Ware's 26 minutes, not guaranteed. And Herro looks great. They're probably the main things I think you take out of that. But I'm always willing to hear people argue or do whatever they want to do about how these roles look. We've got more stuff to talk about though. Today's episode, it is brought to you by DoorDash. The NBA season is heating up and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep you in your bag all season long. You might be watching for your fantasy players. You might be checking to see how Jaime Jaquez and Kel'el are doing off the Miami Heat bench. You might be looking at your favorite team. You might be watching the highlights, whatever it is. DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the bag drop. Every time an NBA player drops 50, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day. You're automatically entered for a chance to win an Ultimate Fan Bag when that happens as well. That's a bag that includes player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, and stuff that you actually want. Plus, DoorDash is not just for food. You can get socks, toothpaste, toothbrushes, combined shampoo, conditioner, body wash. I'm sure it's all there on DoorDash. So the next time someone goes off for 50, use the promo code NBA50. The next day to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass. Plus, your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only, 50% off up to $10 the day after a 50-point game with the promo code. Terms apply, no purchase necessary, ends April the 13th, open to US residents 21 years or older. Visit DoorDashinYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. Now we get to talk about the brave men who represent the greatest country in the world, the Toronto Raptors, as they host the Indiana Pacers and get out of it with a 97-95 victory. For the Pacers, Jarris Walker, hello! He moved into the starting lineup ahead of Ben Sheppard. Not a very high bar to cross over, but he did it. And last game, he shot like 80% after shooting, approximately 5% in all of the other games. So I was pretty skeptical about it. He had a really good game. 13-9, 3 threes, 2 steals, and a block. And what's impressive about it is he didn't shoot 80%. He shot 44. Yes, he shot 43 from 3, and as per usual, just not very good on his 2s. But he did the thing that was the selling point of Walker. Steals, blocks, some assists, some rebounds. Now, I don't really believe it. I don't buy it at all. But that's 2 in a row. And the fact that he started is a nice little floor raiser. It's a nice little boost. So if you wanted to take the plunge, I don't, because I just don't want to deal with it. But if you wanted to take it, there's evidence to suggest it. The other evidence is, I think you just got to roster J Huff. 28 minutes, 10 and 6, 3 blocks. Another multiple block game, which is now 10 out of his last 12? It's ridiculous the blocks that this guy's getting. But more importantly, he's playing big minutes. 28 minutes. He's putting up solid numbers. Now, if he starts playing 17 minutes a night, it's going to go pear-shaped very quickly. As for Isaiah Jackson, speaking of pear-shaped, he had, I don't know. He's got a slim body. Slim thick, some may say. 8, 2, and 3 with 3 blocks, which getting 3 blocks out of Isaiah Jackson is pretty useful as well. But I don't care, and I'm jacking.
Get that garbage out of here!
Also, a good illustration of the sell high on Andrew Nembhard, who was hitting absolutely everything, and then he decided to hit nothing. 9, 4, and 4 with 2 steals on 20% shooting. Now, the reality is he's somewhere in the middle. But I think he's closer to 34 than he is 44. So that was always a likelihood. And it's just an invisible game from Siakam. The 1 of 4 from the line hurts, but he had 11 and 4 with 2 steals. We have to also talk about Ben Mathurin, who continues to be someone who I think is incredibly overrated. Yes, we definitely roster him. But he had 15, 3 and 3 with 4 threes on 33%. And when he's not getting like 7 or 8 from the line, it can get pretty rough. He was 1 of 2 from the line here, and he actually shot 44 from 3, which is very good. He just struggles in a lot of areas. He's not a great actual on-court NBA basketball player. His rebounding has improved of late. It was bad here, but whatever. But I don't trust him for efficiency. I don't trust him for defense. And there are a few sort of smoke and mirror things with some of his game that just doesn't fully appeal to me. Now, obviously, we are still holding him. Not doing anything stupid. But the idea that he's going to roll through with 25 points a game or 50% shooting every game is just, it's unrealistic that he's going to be that good. Because he's not. The other one that's really intriguing is TJ McConnell. I didn't know that he'd get to 24 minutes. I wasn't confident in that. He did, and he got 16, 7, and 6, and took, for some reason, the most shots on the entire team, which is a weird distribution of shots. But if Carlisle's going to go this direction, then you go this direction. So add him. I'm not really confident that it's always going to be like this, but this is the first time I've actually gone, all right, now those minutes are there. That is way more intriguing. I just didn't believe that it would get there, but it did. On the Raptors side, good win. Good win. Not only did we get a game-saving block from Jakob Poeltl, but we get a game winner from Brandon Ingram. We'll start with Ingram, who continues to be really impressive. 26 and 8 with 2 steals and a block. He took 23 shots. He was bad from the line. I had him probably, I think, in the 60s in drafts, and I targeted him pretty aggressively. He's been better than I expected, so I am waiting for a little bit of a drop, while Barnesy had 24, 10, and 4 with a block. Not efficient, but when Scotty Barnes goes 14 of 14 from the line, when I say not efficient, I meant from field goal percentage. 14 of 14 from the line, a gigantic bonus. Poeltl, still not fully there. He might not ever fully get there. 8 and 9 in 32 minutes with a steal and a block. I'm okay with it. I think that's fine. We also saw a change. Last game, it was Jacoby Walter that started. Lonnie Walker the 5th. Today, it was Colin Murray-Boyles, the second Colin, with 2 L's in their first name. That spells it wrong. He started the game, didn't start the second half, and played 8 minutes in total for 0 points. So if you reacted and grabbed him, that was wrong. Drop him. As for Walter, 32 minutes is impressive. 13 and 4, 3 threes and 2 steals is passable. But I'm not I'm not going to really react too much to Walter doing that. It's very good, and it's all going to come down to this, because we had the Dick, parentheses, head game. Grady Dick had to leave the game due to a head issue. There are a lot of jokes that I can throw out there, but I think they're a little bit too obvious for this one. So I'm just going to leave it alone. And we'll just talk that we hope that his head is okay. We hope the concussion symptoms aren't too severe. And we hope that we get a chance for the next big Dick showing to come very soon. Obviously, we're not rostering Grady. Now, Grady's absence does help Jacoby Walter. So if you're in a deeper format and you want to take a flyer on Walter, okay. I don't think it's a 12-team priority. It was also interesting that the guy that we talked about in the waiver wire show that I thought was being a little bit overhyped and over-rostered, Sandro Mamukelashvili, had 7 points on 16% shooting with no assists, steals, or blocks, or threes, and was absolutely just way over-rostered. Jamal Shed was also a little bit over-rostered. He's usually an okay assist streamer, but he missed all 4 of his shots and had 3. So the replacements for Barrett, Walter, Murray-Boyles apparently, Mamukelashvili, Dick, Walter, I don't think any of them are 12-team league players. You can use Walter as a schedule plus stream guy for standard formats. You can consider Shed for assist desperation, but that's it. Mamu is a replacement when Poeltl is out, and yeah, I don't really think there's much more to that. I don't think that's controversial either. Maybe it is. Now we can try and figure out what the hell happened in this overtime game between the Memphis Grizzlies and the New Orleans Pelicans. The Grizzlies win. 133-128 is your final score. Zach Edey, so Edey obviously had the head problem in the last game, which turned out to be a migraine. Obviously, there's no minutes restriction anymore. He played 35 minutes. He had 21 of 15, 1 steal and 2 blocks. Although, I think box scores are going to be different on this because the blocks seem to be all over the place. This one does say 2, but I saw him at 3 at one point. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, the point remains. Zach Edey is a must-roster player. If Zach Edey hadn't been injured to start the season, I would have taken him in the top 60, and I believe a top 60 season is coming. And I'm happy with the evidence so far. Jaren Jackson struggled early and shot horribly, but he did end up with a good game. 27 and 5, 5 threes, 3 steals, and a block is very good, and it was the second consecutive good game from Jaylen Wells. But Jaylen, I'm just going to need to... I just don't believe it. 25 and 5 threes is awesome. Steal and a block, ridiculously good. Shot 82% though, right? Which is very clearly not a real thing. But I like the fact that his minutes are back over 30 and that he's aggressive again. So I'm watching it. I'll add in deeper leagues. I'm not committing to that in 12s. With guys like Wells, Edey, Jackson all playing more, Santi Aldama moved down to 24 minutes. And anything that I say about Santi Aldama, I want you to ignore. Because I just never can figure him out. He's like my Spanish D'Angelo Russell. I just don't know what to do with him. I'll tell you, I don't think he's very good, and then he'll have 34 minutes and have 16 and 11 with 3 blocks. Okay, he's not really a rim protector. And then he does that. And then the next game, he'll have 4 points on 11% and gets cooked every time. I just don't understand him. As a role, it just changes too much. And to me, I just go, the upside's not high enough for me to care to try and figure it out for my teams. I think he's a guy that if you want to roster him, you do. But overall, he's not a starter. And to me, that's a peg down. Now, a peg down might mean something different to you guys, and what you do in your spare time is completely up to you. But for now, he is just that lower level back-end player. We also need to talk about the chicken, Cedric Coward. 12 and 9 with 4 assists. But I will say this, he had a block. And this is actually one of his better games, despite shooting 67 from the line and 50% from the field. It's been bad from Coward since the first 5 games. And the minutes are encouraging. So again, we love a data point that says he played 34, so 25 is not a minutes restriction. It's a coach trust restriction or a skill level restriction. Because he played 34 here. So it's not a minutes restriction. We know that. That's great now. And still only delivered 12 and 9. I have got him in, I think, 3 of my 10 leagues. And I am holding for now. But it's not going to be for long, if it continues along this way. Again, everyone rushed to add Jock Lindale after the Edie head scenario. And that was just one that didn't make any sense. He had 11 and 3 in 18 minutes, so you can go back ahead and drop Jock.
Get that garbage out of here.
Again, dropping Jock, probably what I'm going to do straight after this game, or after this show has ended. The New Orleans Pelicans. Well, we're still trying to figure out what's going on with this team, much like I think they are. Because last game, we saw the second half, Yves Missi and Jose Alvarado start over Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen as they cooked the hapless Chicago Bulls. But in this game, they went back to that same starting lineup. But not for long, because at halftime we changed again. Missi in for Queen. And then to start overtime, Alvarado started in place of Fears again. So let's have a discussion about the Blizzard, Derek Yas Queen. He had 10 minutes played in the first half. He ended with 23 minutes. He had 9 assists, incredibly impressive. He had 10 points with a steal and a block. But there is something about the way that he is playing. I think it was a negative 18 in 10 first half minutes, which as much as we can discount single game plus minus, and we can, as much as we can discount first half plus minus even more, which we can, putting up those numbers in a game where I think they were leading is pretty bloody ridiculous. And when the guy on the other side, Zach Edey, in a game that goes to overtime is a plus 39, it's a little telling, right? Queen is a guy that is easy to like watching play. Goes, man, how does a fat guy wearing a t-shirt do moves like that? Right? I think that's a lot of our brains do. He shouldn't do that, but he does. And he got 9 assists. But he cannot shoot at all. And there are massive defensive concerns. So I know that we're all ready to throw our victory laps either way on it. Nothing is settled. I'm not willing to sit here and tell you that my take that I don't like the fit with him and Zion is wrong, because I got no idea about that yet. The early returns have been okay. It wasn't that good in this game, but they've been okay. But I don't know whether it long-term works. I think that the idea that he is the future and he is this future star and it's worth that first round pick is also equally as stupid to suggest that has been decided. For now, I've got Derek Queen in 1 or 2 leagues, and I'm holding. Very clearly I'm holding. I'm not going to lock that in all season, though. I don't know that that's going to be the case. As for Sasha's brother, Jeremiah Fears, we're at Thanksgiving. I think we make the call.
Get that garbage out of here.
10 points, 36% shooting, 3 assists. I made the mistake the other day saying he doesn't really provide much defense. Someone said he's averaging a lot of steals, and he was. That's true. They've sort of disappeared a little bit lately. Another 0 steal game here. But I was wrong on that when I said that the other day. But what he is doing at the moment, with the fact as well that Jordan Poole will come back, and DeJounte Murray we expect will come back, doesn't mean that there's the clearest pathway, because the pathway is there. He's just not doing anything. And I think he will be better. But I'm not waiting until February or March for that. So he's gone. Yves Missi played a lot of minutes. 6 points, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks. The 3 blocks are nice. I fervently do not believe that Yves Missi is a 12-team league player. Nothing that happened in this game suggests to me otherwise. What we also got was a bad game from Trey. 12, 4, and 6. We got a subpar game from Zion, 17, 5, and 4, but he did have 2 blocks. And then we had big games from Jose Alvarado, 27 minutes, 26 with 6 threes, 2 steals, who was playing incredibly well under James Borrego. I don't know that Alvarado needs to be considered a must-roster guy for 12s, but if you made the move of fears to Alvarado, it's reasonable given the way that things are trending. But the other guy, who is starting in place of Herb Jones, is the depressed penis, Saddiq Bey, who had his 3rd consecutive triple-double. No, he didn't. Double-double. 18 and 11 with 4 threes. He also played 39 minutes and had 3 steals. This is one of the best Saddiq Bey games you will get. And this makes him the 122nd ranked player over the last 2 weeks in 30 minutes a night. The last 3 games have been very good. Absolutely, they have been. I still think that if you didn't grab him, you'll end up being okay. If you want to grab him and use him with Jones out, actually totally okay. These games are good. But I do not have the faith in him that he's going to do it repeatedly or long term. But again, these are good games. These are impressive games. And we like an impressive game. Now we can do the last 3 games. The Phoenix Suns and the Sacramento Kings. The Suns just keep winning. They go into Sacramento, they win 112-100. A couple of changes to the starting lineup. Mark Williams returned after a 1-game rest. That meant that BDNR moved to the bench, and they made the change where Colin Gillespie started over Jordan Goodwin. We'll start with Gillespie because he's obviously producing at a really high level at the moment. He played 33 minutes. He started this game out absolutely red hot. He's a really good player. He had 21 points with 4 threes, 9 assists, and 2 steals. That's incredibly good. The concern, of course, is the fact that Grayson Allen and Jaylen Green are both out. For now, you ride it. You see what happens when Allen returns, which looks like it will be on the weekend. And then you see again when Green returns. Christmas, who knows? But Gillespie for now, great numbers, great value, very good player. Mark Williams also, absolute beast. 21, 17, 4, 3 steals, and a block. Now, it helps when you go up against whatever it is that Sacramento is putting out, but that is just fantastic numbers from Williams. Of course, the worry with him has never been talent. I talked about this a lot during draft season. This is a top 30 player, but the risk is what they do with the minutes and, of course, the injury risk and the back-to-backs. But he's cooking at the moment. He's putting up fantastic numbers, and if anyone gave you a top 40 player, I'd probably trade him away. But otherwise, I'm just got to enjoy it. Royce O'Neal, only 9 points, but 3 steals, 3 threes, 4 assists, and a block. Just keeps doing barely enough, and even then it's borderline. While Goodwin on the bench, he had his 8 rebounds, he had his 2 steals. That's good enough, but it moves more to deeper leagues. Devin Booker still really just not cracking at the moment. Mainly because he just can't hit anything. He hit 27% of his shots. He took 22 shots. He had 19, 7, and 6. There is going to be a reversion here, and it's going to come pretty hard. And the other thing that happened is Dylan Brooks also didn't hit his shots. Now, he still took quite a few, not as many as he has been. He had a 13 and 3. We are still rostering Dylan Brooks. I have skepticism that Brooks is going to maintain the level of value that he's had of late. But for now, we keep rostering him, and then we make assessments when Allen is back, when Green is back, and then when we do see where Dylan Brooks's shooting settles in at. On the Kings side of things, there was no Dennis Schroeder in this game, not that he would start. They rolled out the same starting lineup. It didn't involve Precious Achiuwa as the starting center. It was still Drew Eubanks. Eubanks had 4 points with 10 rebounds, but played only 14 minutes. As for Achiuwa, the numbers are okay. 25 minutes, 14 and 5, 1 steal, 1 3. He shot 86% to get there, and I don't think you're rostering him outside of let's say 175 deep leagues, 14 teamers. What we wanted to check was what would happen with Keegan Murray. Are they actually giving him big usage? And the answer is yeah, sort of, yeah. It's only 20 usage, but that's up from the 14 that he's been having. 19 and 8, 2 threes, 2 steals, and a block. And it's incredibly encouraging. I hope that they continue doing this. Of course, there is no Schroeder in this game or Sabonis, but Murray is putting up really good numbers, and he's doing way better than I thought he would. Keon Ellis was also back into the rotation here. This was a very key-on game. 2 threes, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. But also, look at the game log. You can't really trust it. And I'm guessing that he played because Schroeder was out. Well, Westbrook also had one of his better ones. 19, 8, and 3. Still probably more points league than category leagues for us. The other guys, though, DeMar DeRozan. I think he might be done. I am not willing to throw a drop edict onto him. I'm not willing to get the jack off happening completely on DeRozan, but we're close. 37 minutes for 10 points on 11 shots is terrible. Levine also looks terrible. 13, 2 and 2 in 32 minutes. I can't really blame Levine. He didn't want to get traded here necessarily. He didn't pick it. DeRozan did. And yeah, Monk had 15, 1 and 2. And I think you're barely holding those three guys. But honestly, the production from DeRozan, the production from Monk means that I'm not really that confident in it. And if they are going to pump stuff into Murray, these guys are going to lose out. And we are missing two usage guys here in Schroeder and Sabonis. So it is interesting to see the change with Murray getting this usage and with Levine and DeRozan being like unbelievably putrid. I hope in this case that you did take my advice on fading those guys. I hope you didn't take my advice on not being super keen on Keegan Murray, which is weird because I was keen on him heading into draft season. Thought he'd be an interesting guy to pick late, but then when he came back from the injury, I was a little skeptical of considering the absolute disaster this team was. I just didn't know how he'd get the shots, but so far he has proved me very much wrong in that one. Let's go to the Spurs game up against the Portland Trail Blazers. The Spurs do end up with the victory in this one. Final score 115-102. De'Aaron Fox really cooking with big numbers here. 37, 6 and 8, 3 steals and a block for Fox. And Devin Vassell also putting up big ones. 23 and 6 for Vassell on 53%. Now, both of these guys are very clearly benefiting from the absence of Castle and Wembanyama, especially Vassell. But you just enjoy what you're getting. Champagny also had a nice little double-double, 12 and 11 with 2 threes. He's a stream sort of guy. He had 2 blocks as well. And that's good. That's good enough. And Luke Kornet, again, like not terrible. Not good, but not terrible. 6 and 9 with 3 blocks. So if you did hold, that's okay. I wouldn't recommend rushing to add him or anything like that. While the horse Keldon Johnson has also seen his playing time reduce. Just 23 minutes for Johnson, 11 and 10 with the return of Dylan Harper. Johnson is streamable, but not a must. As for Harper, he played 17 minutes. He had 7 points with 2 steals. Obviously, he is working his way back. I still find it difficult to find where the minutes come, despite how good I think he is. If you want to grab him, at least give it a few weeks to see where it goes. But I'm somewhat skeptical about how much they play him and if it's enough to matter. As for the pencil, Harrison Barnes. Barnesy. He was okay. The 3 steals are good. 0 assists is not. But he had 2 threes. He had 13 points. He's good enough to stream. He's not good enough to be a must roster. And that is the story. Jeremy Sohan played 8 minutes. Kelly Olynyk played 12 minutes. These guys are rostered on some 12-team rosters. They should not be. They should not even be on 14-team rosters, honestly. They're not doing anything. And it's not about to get better when these other guys return, would be my guess. On to the other side of the game, we're talking Portland. Yeah, talking Portland. The lineup was the same despite Shaedon Sharpe returning. He must have been on a very heavy minutes limit because he played 22 minutes off the calf strain. 11 and 5 for Sharpe with a block. He has been quite up and down this season. I think you give him a little bit of a pass here, and let's see where it goes over the next week or so. It's also been very good for Tamani Kamara, but it wasn't today. 10 points, 2 threes, 1 block, 29%. His last few games have been solid. He's been a top 70 player over the last week. This was bad. In points leagues, I don't think you need to hold. In category leagues, I am. Denny Avdia hurt your free throws in a huge way. That problem from earlier in his career is really creeping up. But 37, 6 and 8 with 5 threes is excellent. While Don Cleon had been playing well, and I talked about him on the 9-Cat Fluffer section of the Sell High show, talking about maybe his value might be overrated considering it was telling you he was the 27th ranked player. 9 and 11 with a block for him on 38%, and these are back to the bad old days. And with Sharpe returning, I'd like to see how he gets used or ignored maybe. Also, interesting, Jeremy Grant, who was riding an absolute usage and shooting heater, had 13 points on 29%, with, of course, not very much else. A soft hold for now, but long-term, I'm not really sure he's going to be that. And guess what? Back-to-back games from the Rock DJ Robbie Williams of 4 blocks. He had 10 and 5 here. I don't want to add him. I'm not going to suggest that you do. But 4 blocks in 2 games in a row, 20 minutes a night, roughly. It's making 200 deep leagues pay attention. It's making 175 deep leagues pay a smaller bit of attention. And it's making standard 12-team category leagues at least be marginally peaked in terms of streaming value. And now we can do the last game of the night. The Rockets beat the Warriors in a very intriguing matchup. The Rockets went in without Kevin Durant again, so they went with the same starting lineup as last time, which means that Reid Sheppard was starting. But unlike the last game where Reid had some struggles and his minutes were actually down, in this game, like, he cooked. And he showed you why we were very interested once Fred VanVleet went down. He had 31 points. He hit 4 threes. He had 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal with 2 blocks. He shot 25 times, which is a lot, and only 33% from 3, which had been hovering very high. He is a must-roster player. I have absolutely no idea what happens when Durant returns, because we know how much that old mate Ime Udoka has been loving Josh Okogie in that starting group. Again, it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to most people. I think Sheppard makes the most sense. But Ime has a habit of this. He finds someone, when something breaks down, to blame it on. It used to be Şengün. Anything would happen, right, get out. Me? Yeah, get out, off. I didn't do anything. Yeah, it's off. And now it seems like anything that goes wrong, it's Okogie. Not Okogie, it's Sheppard. But there will become a point where it's undeniable that you just got to play him. And it's happening a little bit now. Amen Thompson also got 14 rebounds, which is sick. The field goal percentage was bad. The steals were 1. He had 10 points. Not his best game, but he's starting to round into more form. And Jabari Smith was solid. 15 and 4, 2 threes. I think Smith has been pretty good this season, and there are times when he's been overrated. I do think he should be rostered. Not the best Şengün game. 16, 6 and 6 on 39%. Good volume, but obviously the counting stats are bad. Obviously the efficiency is bad, and the free throws are terrible. Aaron Holiday also played a lot. 14 points in his 29 minutes while Okogie starts. And again, why? I know he's a good defender, but he's not that good. He's not that good. He's not that impactful. I thought JD Davison showed quite a bit here. Just a two-way guy to pay attention to. Pretty good passer usually. It's not going to matter for most of us. Maybe the double onyxes, but that's about it. On the Warriors side, we had another shocking change to the starting lineup. At least it was back to the one that we saw before, and maybe this one holds for the foreseeable future. Although it might not. Gary Payton moved back to the bench. He lasted 5 minutes before spraining an ankle. That meant that Willie Dick moved back into the starting group. Richard had his best game in a while. 18 and 6 with 28 minutes, 2 threes and 2 steals. That's great. The thing that's important to note here is that Steph, very late in the game, he had a collision with Amen Thompson. He came back and he played through it, but with 30 seconds left, he left, even though the game was on the line. He went to the locker room, and he was limping pretty badly. If Steph is going to miss, and I don't know that he is, but it means that Brandon Podziemski is going to have to do more, and it means that other guys, like Moses Moody, but even Will Richard, will have to do more. Now, I don't think that Will is a guy that we look to in 12s. This is a good game, obviously. I'm more inclined to add Podziemski and feel better about adding Moody in that case. Moody, obviously, bad again. 9 points, 7 rebounds, 25%. He is doing absolutely nothing outside of Steph being hurt to suggest he's a 12-team guy. Well, Podziemski had 14 and 4 on 55%. But if Curry does miss, and I don't know that he will, I think he will, the value of Podziemski and Moody rises, and Richard moves up a little bit. As for Steph, 31% shooting, 14, 7, and 5. I'm not saying Steph is washed because he's not, but he's 37 years of age. And what happens? You can still hit the heights. You just have the consistency problems, and that you are struggling with that at the moment. Butler had 21, 5 and 5 general soreness, while Draymond came back for a 12, 8 and 8, 2 block, 2 3 game, which are the sort of games that Green was putting up at the end of last season. He'd been bad for most of the season, but recently he's playing well. In a category league where you know you're not worried too much about points, these numbers are pretty solid. Quinton Post had 12 points with 3 steals in his 22. That's just really deeper league stuff, while Bud Hield was scoreless in his 15 minutes. Now we can go through to the lines of the night. The monstrous line of the night goes to De'Aaron Fox in San Antonio. 37, 6, and 8 with 3 steals. Your waiver wire line of the night, the best performer who's available in over 60% of leagues, according to Basketball Monster, is Jaylen Wells. 25 points on 82% shooting. An incredibly good game that is 2 in a row. I am unconvinced, but if you want to get ahead of it, do it. He just won't shoot this well. The young gun of the night has to be Reid Sheppard. I realize I got a typo there. He scored 31, not 30. 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steals, 2 blocks. Fantastic game. The defensive stuff is stuff that he's done all the way through college, G League, all that stuff. He just does it. And the dud of the night, well, it's got to be the other rookie. The big Areola, not that Reid's a rookie. Kon Knueppel, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, bad shooting, low usage, no defensive stats. A bad night for Kon. That is a recap from Thanksgiving Eve. Tomorrow, there will be a mailbag show. There will be a preview of Friday's games. But otherwise, enjoy the day. Carve your turkey. Eat your stuffing. eat that weird thing you have with marshmallows on top of potatoes or whatever it is. I don't know. I know about it. Seems pretty gross. But you guys do you, I guess. Thumb up the video. Double bang. Tell me if you're thankful for my messy hair from walking the dog because it was windy outside. Michael Bolton is here as well. I thought he was going to do an outro. He's not, because he's not live, unfortunately. For those of you who think he sits next to me, he's not. Yeah, I'm tired. I need a break. Guys, we're done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Sleeper sucks. See ya.